Hi everyone, this is Aga from EurekaCrystalBeads.com and I'm here with another fun beading tutorial for you. But before I get started, just a quick reminder to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss any of our fun content. In this video, we're going to be working with Eureka's May collection for May 2026. This is the inspiration photo for this collection and it's called Songbird Blossom. I think it's just so lovely. I love birds, I love animals, and the pink flowers. I really love this collection, and the beads that you get in this collection are just as pretty as the picture. So we're going to be making this bracelet, which was inspired by these beautiful Chaton stones in 4 beautiful colors. These are Elite Eureka Crystal stones from the latest drop, and we thought that they would be perfect for a spring collection. So what you're gonna need to make this bracelet, or in fact, this could be a pendant as well, or an earring, anything you like. I really love this, how you can just take these segments and do whatever you like with them. I decided to make a bracelet because I just really wanted to use them all together. So you're gonna need 1 Chaton stone. This is an 8mm pointy back Chaton. And 5 stones should be good for smaller wrists, while 6 stones will be good for the wrist on the larger side. In addition to that, you're gonna need your clasp. I'll be using this toggle clasp where the loop does not have like its own loop to which you can attach the beads. So we're going to be attaching this directly to the beadwork. Then you're gonna need some round beads or pearls. Here I have Krakowski crystal pearls in 6mm and 3mm. For each segment, you're gonna need 4 of each size, plus 2 extra 6mm for the connection. Then the seed beads. So here I have the Songbird Blossom Toho mix that we included in the collection, and the Miyuki round size mix that we included in the collection. So it has sizes 15-0, 11-0, and 8-0. And this has just a lot of different beads that allow you to create these beautiful colorways matching the stones. And out of this mix, I'll be taking some 8-0s and also colorful 11-0s for the back, as well as some bugles. Then you can use the same 11-0s, but I'm gonna use silver ones here for the front for some silver color. And that's what I got the size mix for. Then we have check beads, and here I have O beads that I used here all around. And you're gonna need, I think, 20 O beads for each segment. Finally, I have SuperDuos, and you're gonna need 8 of them per segment. For tools, I have a size 12 needle, and I'll be using this with 6-pound fireline in crystal. So I'm just matching the color of the thread to the general vibe, and I have light colored pearls, so I just decided to use a light colored thread. And I think that's it, so let's start beading. So here is the beading plan. We're actually going to start in the back. We're gonna go from the center here outwards. We're gonna close the bezel in the front, and then we're gonna start adding everything on the sides. We're gonna do some reinforcement, and that's gonna be basically it. Every segment is going to be made separately, and then you can connect them as you go, or you can connect them at the very end. It's really quicker and easier than you think, so let's start. I have about half a wingspan of thread on my needle, and as I said, we're starting in the back. So without a stopper bead, because we're gonna be tying a knot right away, I'm picking up 4 11-0s, and I opted for these blue ones from the mix to match the pretty blue stone that I have. I'm gonna slide them down my thread, and I'm gonna pass through all 4 of them again in the same direction to create a circle, or in this case, more of a square. This is where you can cut off your tail thread, and you can tie some knots over here. You can also do this without cutting the thread. of the spool and just make the knots with your running thread. I usually do 3 knots so that it's secure. And we're going to weave that tail in later on. I'm going to pass through 1 bead. And I'm going to try to hide that knot inside this bead. Now I pick up a single 11-0 and I added between every pair of 11-0s from the previous row. So between here, another one, in here. Make sure that they pop in. Third one. And the last one in here. This one's more challenging because there's a knot in that last bead, right? So that's what we have, an even bigger square. Now I'm going to add 3 11-0s in between those beads from the previous row. 3 11-0s, and I put them right here. Another set of 3 in here. Another set in here. So again, you're adding 4 of those sets because we're creating kind of a square. And 3 11-0s in here, and I look for that 11-0 from the previous row that we did. But I also am going to pass through 2 of the first 3 11-0s we just added, so that my thread is coming out on one of those points of this little star that we just made. Now I'm going to pick up a sequence of 11-0, 3 8-0s, 11-0, and I'm picking the 8-0s that match the color of everything else so far, and I'm just passing through the next top bead in the next set of 3. Just like so. Make sure that these form a triangle. And another set of 11-0, 3 8-0s, 11-0. And finding the next top bead in the next 3 that we added in the previous row. Pulling tight. Here's my third sequence here. And the last one. Looking for the top bead in the first sequence of 3 here. And you might have guessed we're going to the top of this new sequence with the 8-0s on top. So you want your thread to be coming out of one of the middle 8-0s. And at this point, we're already in the front because we just added those 3s that are in the bottom with the top bead visible here. So we're just going to connect the top bead with 4 11-0s. And this time I'm picking up 4 silver 11-0s. And super simple, just connecting the top 8-0s. And I'm not going to really pull tight yet because we want to add our stone before we do. Another set of 4. And if you start pulling, it's going to start cupping. Third set of 4. And the last one. And I'm going to pass through this first 8-0 as well as the 4 11-0s in the first set that I added. And just before I pull tight, I'm going to put in the Chaton. Make sure it's facing the right way. Pull tight. And now we want to connect the sets of 4 11-0s that we added to close that bezel up. And it's only now that it's going to get proper tight. Alright, since it's still kind of pretty loose, I'm gonna pass through the 11 O's one more time to reinforce this. And that's our bezel. Now I'm gonna step down this 8O and the next 8O as well. So my thread is coming out of one of the 8Os towards the back. And now it's time for a set of SuperDuo, O-bead SuperDuo. And I'm just gonna go to the next set of 3 8Os and I'm gonna pass through them. So I'm just going bottom up and then down through the third one. And you want to make sure that the O bead kind of pops in between those SuperDuos like this. In the next set, SuperDuo, O bead, SuperDuo. And again up the next sequence of 8Os. And down to that third one. Making sure that the O bead pops between those SuperDuos like so. Another set. Connecting the 8Os. Going through the second and third 8O here. And my last sequence. And up this last set of 3 8Os. I'm going down to the third one. And I'm going to pass through the first sequence of SuperDuo, O-bead SuperDuo. We can go one by one or 3 at a time. It's going to get harder as you move around. Right, so here's what we have so far. So far, so good. We're going to add the back sequence with the bugles now to reinforce it and add really a nice aspect to the back of this, because I also really love how the back turned out. So my thread is coming out of the SuperDuo. And I just pick up an 11/0 3mm bugle from the mix and another 11/0. And I just pass through the next sequence of SuperDuo, O-bead, SuperDuo. This is going to kind of lodge itself nicely between those SuperDuos here. And you add that 4 times as well. Alright, I added my 4 sequences with a bugle, and I want my thread to be coming out of one of the SuperDuos. I'm going to step up to the other hole. So this is what we got so far. On those sides with the bugle, I want to pick up an O bead and an 8/0, and I pass through the 8/0 on top in the middle of this side here. This is the 8/0 that I used for the bezel at first, and I want to flip this O bead so that it's more or less like this, so it's laying down kind of on that SuperDuo. Doesn't matter all that much because it's gonna go like this anyway. And here on this other side, it's the reverse, so 8/0 and O bead, and through this next SuperDuo. I'm gonna pull tight, and you can see how this kind of pops into place. There's a nice triangle here now. And in between those SuperDuos here, for now, I'm just gonna add 2 O beads and through the second SuperDuo, just like so. They don't need to be perfect at this point. On this side again, O bead 8/0 through the 8/0 in the bezel, 8/0 O bead, through the SuperDuo, 2 O beads, through the SuperDuo, and you go around adding these very sequences. Alright, and as I add my last 2 O beads in this row, I just want to pass through the O bead that's after the SuperDuo. And finally, it's time for the cherry on top, so the pearls. For this space, in here next to the 8 O's, I'm picking up a 1506mm pearl 15O, passing through the O bead on the other side, and then the SuperDuo, and one of the O beads that are between these SuperDuos. Voila! Now a 3mm pearl in between these O beads, through the O bead, SuperDuo, and O bead after it. Pull tight, 1506mm pearl 15O, through the O bead, SuperDuo, O bead. Pull tight, make sure those 15Os kind of go into those O beads on the sides. 3mm pearl, O bead, SuperDuo, O bead. And my last 3mm pearl. And that's it. That's the segment finished. Now let's attach it to the last one that I have here. For this, I need to be coming out of one of the 6mm pearls. And by the way, these pearls for now have just one thread inside them. So if you're a perfectionist and want to have it super secure, pass through all of those beads in this last row. Again, it's going to be a little challenging because of all of those beads being so tight together, but you can definitely do that. Now let's quickly attach these two elements like that. And this is going to be the easiest thing ever. So first I pick up 15O, 6mm pearl 15O, and I'm just going to pass through the pearl in the previous segment, just the pearl. Make sure not to pass through the 15Os that are next to it. Just like so. Same on this other side. 15O, 6mm pearl 15O, and add the pearl in your new segment. And now it's a good idea to pass through those pearls like 2 more times to secure them. Alright, I went through those beads in this connection 2 more times. Now I want to get to the other side to connect the other end of my clasp. So I'm just going to go around through all of those beads that I previously added, 1 or 2 beads at a time, because it's not at all that easy. Alright, my thread is coming out of this pearl at the end here. And now because this clasp is in this direction and the loop that I will make here will be in this direction, I need to add something that will allow this connection to rotate. Just like here, I added the 8O, and that's why it's not like this, but it can be like this because it kind of rotates a little bit. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is first I'll add 4 11Os, 1 15O there in the middle, and 4 more 11Os, and I'm just gonna go around the pearl and through it again to place these on top. Like so. I'm gonna go up through the first 4 11Os like so. Or you could actually go through this set of beads one more time because it will be useful to keep it kind of immobile, a little bit more immobile than now. Now I'm gonna pick up an 8O and then an amount of 15Os that will allow me to go around this clasp here. I'll try with 9. So I'm just gonna slide these beads down my thread. I'm gonna go around and through the clasp and through the 8/0, just the 8/0 so far, to see if the amount of beads is enough. I think we could use one more bead here, so I'm just gonna go back through that 8/0 and I'm gonna add an extra 15/0 there. So 10 in total, back through the 8/0. Yeah, now it's nice. It's tight, but it covers the entire ring. Okay, I'm gonna pass through 4 11/0s on the other side, so where the 8/0 is not connected yet. Pulling tight through the pearl, and I'm gonna pass through all of those beads one more time, or even 2 times to keep it more secure. And it's ready. I just tied up my thread, trimmed the tail, and that's it. Making a segment like this is really quicker than you think, and I hope I showed you that it's also easier than you think. It's a really nice bracelet with a pretty buck in the front as well. I can't decide which color I like the best. I think my favorite would be this purple violet pink shade. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite, or what colors are you gonna make your bracelet in. If you don't want to miss projects like this one, make sure to subscribe, and if you like this tutorial, give it a thumbs up because it always helps. If you want to be up to date with all new projects, if you want to get info on VIP projects and new deals as soon as they come up, sign up for our newsletter. The link is down in the description and in the first comment. Meanwhile, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!